2,000 rank-and-file members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force staged a sick-out last month to raise concerns about a wage increase proposed by the Holness administration. Political analyst Richard Dickey Crawford talks us through the future of our public sector workers. Morning.
Morning. Happy New Year to all of you.
Lord Dickey, this conversation seems like it's been going on since the beginning of time. When are we ever going to get to a point where we say the public sector is okay?
Boy, I don't know if we're going to reach there. Your point is very valid. You know, we've been talking about public sector transformation from I was a child in school. But really for the past 30, 40 years, we've been dabbling at this thing. World Bank money, IMF money, demands, but we still haven't gotten anywhere. You just said that the police officers are on a sick out. Our nurses are in jeopardy.
Our teachers.
What about the teachers? What about the water commission workers? I mean, the heart and soul of your public sector that performs all of these duties, right?
So what is the crux of the problem, Sir Dickey? We don't rate them. Is it that we don't value them? Obviously, we realize that they're the engine of this society. They school our kids, they make us who we are. So why do we treat them so poorly?
I think it's part of the history. Public sector workers, so to speak, government employees, we can treat them any kind of way. You know, they work for us, or they work and they cannot, so to speak, most of them or many of them don't have the luxury to just walk out of a job and finance themselves and live happily ever after. So it to my mind, is part of our whole plantation system, our whole system of how we grew up, how we have evolved. We have become independent, but all the chains are still with us in the public sector, in the economy, everything. So what is happening is that it's just a residue. It's a residue that continues to disturb the situation. And then now, because of the way we operate and we treat public sector workers less than equal, and we're not serious enough about production, we run into trouble, we borrow money, we don't have no money. You get the IMF to come in to try and bail you out. And then the IMF is telling you on top of all of that, fire the public sector workers, don't pay them. Do you know that for the last 7 years, public sector workers have really been on a wage freeze?
I know.
They got a little 3% just the other day, broken into 2 years.
While the rest up, but everything else, inflation.
But then get the 1.5
Can you imagine 7 years you don't get any money on top of what you were earning?
There's a school of thought, Dickey.
Pardon that pun, eh?
That, that the decision makers don't care because they are able to access services elsewhere. So people say they can provide their own security, so they don't care if the police force is as sharp as it should be. When they're sick, they seek help overseas, or they can afford private help. Their children are schooled in universities and schools in America, so they don't care about the system. What's your opinion on that school of thought? I
think you're right on target. It reminds me of when the British were physically living here.
Absolutely.
And then they were entitled to go home and leave. Home leave. From the hot sun back to England for 3 months in the summer. It's almost the same thing that our present leaders are doing. They live in a different world from the rest of us. Can you imagine that? People go to the hospitals and die waiting to see a doctor, while you can call from your cell phone and get an ambulance to take you out as you should. It is unbelievable.
I hear you talk about this as part of our history, and I think of what happens, for example, in the more developed world, in the United States, where the nurses are paid so well, and the garbage men are paid so well, and the police officers are okay. And we are now losing our skilled people to the US and other countries who are like Jamaican nurses, teachers.
But they're primed. The schools have been raided, you're right, for the teachers already. The nurses that Jamaica has produced are among some of the best in the world. Any hospital you walk into in the United States of America, who's the head nurse? She come from Jamaica. My sister was sick. One nurse came up to me when she was in the hospital and said to me, "Don't make that boy operate on your sister. Him just learn and him don't know what him doing."
Oh my word.
That kind of thing, but they are top of the line people.
Absolutely.
all the top lorry drivers, truck drivers have been taken to Canada for their transportation system.
I know.
Long treks.
So what's the solution, Dickie? Because as you said, we've been talking about it for 40 years.
Yes.
There are some realities in terms of how much money we have. Is it that we determine, well, this kind of infrastructural development will have to wait and let's pay the workers? What do we do? What's the solution?
The solution is we have to change our political and electoral system. We've been talking for 40 years, we've been talking around it. What comes first in this country is the acquisition of power. Is to get power. For what, I don't know, but let us say you get this power, you say you're going to do it better than the last person, but it turns out it doesn't happen that way. This country is on a merry-go-round. We're going around in circles, and therefore, consequently, when we have an election and we change the government at that point in time, and in most times in an election is one government that is a sitting government that loses, you know. It's not that the other one wins. At this point in time, what is happening in Jamaica is interesting because the people are so frustrated, but they don't see any alternative.
I'm sorry, Simone, you said something and I want to get back to it.
Yeah.
You said, is part of what you just raised the problem that with each campaign we say, I'm going to do better. Why can't we say, well, this is a challenge and I'm accepting that this is a challenge?
But we're going to try.
And we're going to try.
Nothing wrong with saying that this government can't manage it because it's a challenge, and it's going to be a challenge for us as well. But I think part of what frustrates the society is when we say this government is mismanaging and we can do better, when we know the realities, and then when we're going, it's not better, and people say, oh, so you're mismanaged too. Is it time for us to just let the people in Jamaica know what the realities are and how collectively we have to approach them?
The latest thing on the airwaves and all over the world right now is that, and Oprah talked about it, I suppose, the other night at the Golden Globes Award, is the truth. You have to talk the truth now. Jamaica have to face the truth. What you're describing is the politics that says, you see, you've brought the people up so badly. It's like you have a child in your house and you spoil the child. Every time the child wants a cup of sugar or a new bicycle or a new toy, you say, yes, have it. That's what the politicians have done to the people. So when you go out there to win the votes, you have to promise them everything. And you have to give them beforehand too. And it's so bad now you even have to buy the votes too. That's the nature of what's happening. And then you come into office, oh boy, I get in a raise of pay and things going to look up for me. And it's the same thing that you just voted against. Yeah. That has hit you again.
Let me ask you, what realistically, how do you see it, Sadiki? What are we looking at? We had a brain drain in the, was it the 70s?
Yeah, 80s. We're still having one now.
Well, are we really?
All the young graduates of the university are leaving Jamaica.
That's what I realize.
Where they're going to work? So they have to go. They go.
And we have this notion that they must come out and create something for themselves. Everybody must look for employment, but everybody is not an entrepreneur.
That's right.
But they don't have options,
no,
so they go.
The difficulty is this. The system has outlived its usefulness, if it had any. But let us say it has outlived it. It is time to change it. 30 years ago, the Parliament sat down and did an exhaustive review of the Constitution, which is the major impediment, the laws, the Constitution, what you can do, what you can't do. It's still in the filing cabinet, right? They don't want
those filing cabinet.
I don't know whose filing cabinet it is, but it's
no, I know them. I know the filing cabinets.
Yeah, you know the filing.
That thing is just locked up.
Just lock up there.
Yeah.
And the country's withering away.
I've been paid a consultant
millions of dollars, and even if the consultant came from abroad and then took what we had in the cabinet before and dressed it up, we're still wasting money.
So who's going to change it? Who has the political will to do it? If it's been 40 years of talking with the same two
it has come down now to the people.
What are we going to do?
You're going to have to my view, you're going to have to be resolute, and we're going to have to stop supporting the foolishness and take a stance.
And vote.
and don't vote if necessary.
No, but I believe,
Really?
I believe
vote.
it's the not voting that's a challenge. Because what we've done is we've left those who, and it's not everybody, I don't want nobody come and say, yes, everybody's taking money. But if we believe that there are people who are taking money for votes, and that's the majority, then most of us now need to come and say, well, I don't want the money,
Right.
but what I want is good governance. And that's what's going to change it.
Well, that's what you need to put on the table then. You're not voting for the same old system.
Yeah.
We will vote, but you'll vote for a brand new system
And
that
if
has
we
a
don't
future
get it, we're
and a
voting
possibility.
out and voting somebody else.
Who are going to give
I
us
think
a
that's
brand
the
new
only way
system,
that it's
though?
going to work.
Sorry, we're going to get a third party. Who's going to give us? Who's going to give us?
No,
a
but
brand
I'm
new
saying
system?
same. If you as the people change the face of it and say, okay, you say it's different, I'm going to vote for you. If it don't different, I'm going to vote you out. But if I'm saying, it no matter what you do, give me your money and I'll vote, it will never change.
Yeah, and as far as I see it now, everything that is significant in history and today is the people make that decision.
We have forgot the key, but I want to know, though, all the way tell Andrew Holness him have to find the money. Where it going to come from?
To pay everybody?
The public sector workers.
I don't know. I think one way that everybody has been arguing is to speak to the IMF very seriously. Now, the IMF comes here and tells us we have to lay off public sector workers. Then they tell us our production is not up to scratch. The economy not doing too well.
And our largest employment sector is public sector.
Is the public sector. Okay, fine. So if IMF, if you have all of those problems on the top of your head, how about giving us a solution as well? Don't keep telling me about fire the people, lay off the people, do this, do that. And if you don't solve crime, we don't even want to give you any more money because we're wasting our money.
Yeah.
So the IMF knows it. They have it worked out, and the government knows these problems. So they have to sit down together like we people and say, all right, since this is all what's wrong with us, you have to help us fix it.
In the meantime, we live in fear because our police officers aren't motivated to work. We fear for our children. Because
kind of hard to be a policeman in Jamaica today.
What?
You know? A difficult proposition, no money.
It's hard to be a teacher.
No transport.
I said to Simone, it's hard to teach people's children to pass an exam that you couldn't afford to pay the fee for your child to take.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Crisis.
Yeah.
It's a very serious situation. But honestly, let's take the
last point, so they can, then we have to go.
Yeah, it's up to us. I'm being very serious. We can make demands. We can offer solutions. Everybody thought when the first lady came out against the power structure of sexual abuse in America, it was going under the carpet. See where it is gone now?
America, though. America have a tradition of standing up and protesting. And
we too.
We're part.
We're not as good at it
our history
as we should
back
be.
In the day.
Yeah, we for find it back, man. Yes, we for find it back.
Yeah, well, that's the point, because what we stood up for in the past brought us to where we are today.
We have to go. When the can go and talk while
yeah, all right.
We have to. We have to go back. We have to go back.
Political analyst Richard Dickey Crawford.